This is a teaching message from Church of the Living Water of Austin.
Now, you don't have to go to the book of Ezra. I want you to go to Isaiah 62 because we're gonna run right over there. I'm just gonna say a few things about Ezra, and we're gonna move right into what we started on this morning, so we can get through with all of the new information. We already understand about Ezra. We understand who he is and what God was calling him to do, calling him to restore worship back into Jerusalem and build the temple back up. At the same time, God was dealing with the prophet Nehemiah to go back and build the city, to build the walls back up. Everything was torn down. And you have to be ready. You have to be ready for anything that God is going to, anything that God is going to ask you to do. You need to be ready beforehand, before time. If he's going to, you need to already be ready. You cannot get ready at the time that you're asked to do it. You have to already be ready. Amen. That's why God always gives preparation. That's why it's important not to miss your preparation. Amen. Because if you miss your preparation and then God calls upon you for that, you're not going to be ready. You're going to put it off, or you're going to say, well, I can't do it because of this, or I can't do it because of that, or I feel this way. God always gives a preparation period before he moves. Amen. He's like, I'm not going to throw you in anything. I'm going to prepare you, and then I'll tell you what to do. And see, we want him to tell us what to do, and then just lead us right in, and let's just walk through it. No, he said, prepare yourself. And so that's what Ezra did. He prepared his heart. And God is dealing with this ministry and us as individuals in that same way. He said, it's time to prepare your heart. You've been doing a lot of different things and all the churchy stuff and hearing all the messages and excited about this and excited about that. But God said, but now in this dispensation, in this span of time, I'm dealing with you about your heart. I'm dealing with you in these messages about only what me and you know, not what people know. What no one else know about you, that's what he's dealing with. When he's talking about the heart, he says, everybody in here, nobody's exempt, got some things going on inside of them that nobody knows but them and God. Every one of us. Every one of us. Now you can sit up there and you can act like, oh no, I'm just an open book. I'm transparent. Listen, you transparently lie. Because God is saying God cannot lie. And he's saying every one of us have things inside of us that only he and you know about. Absolutely. Thank God he's not showing anybody else. Hallelujah. We are, right there, that's easy enough to run around. Well, thank you, God, for just not telling everybody. Well, just me and you know. Amen. Absolutely. But those are the things that he's dealing with you about. Amen. Know when we're talking about a heart issue, understand that those are the things that he's dealing with. He's not dealing with anything else. Don't think he's dealing with this thing that you've been just praying about and I've been struggling with it. Everybody know I'm struggling, but I'm coming out. That's not what he's dealing with. No. That's the issue that needs to be dealt with, but not with this message. This message is about what nobody sees. Nobody knows but you and him. And we're letting God deal with our heart because he said, this is the preparation period. I'm going to use this ministry. I'm going to use you all. And so because of that, I'm trying to prepare you by making sure your heart is clean and ready for when I'm causing you to be used. Amen. So don't hold on to it. Don't think God has missed it. Don't say that's not me. Don't try to look for somebody else. This message is a message where a mirror goes down on each side of you and in front of you. Inside of you. So when you look to say, I know they're talking about you. You looking over there, you're going to see you. Because the mirror is right there. He's not talking about anybody else but you. And I love that because as long as he's talking to you, as long as he's correcting you, you know that you're in line to be used. Now, it's what you do with what he's talking to you about, whether you be used or not. Now, you know he's talking to you. Now, you can reject the knowledge that he's giving you, or you can go back doing your same old thing you always done. You can do all of that, and he will allow it. But you'll never be able to say that he didn't give you that preparation. Amen. Amen. And so we went over to Isaiah 62, and we started dealing with our subtitle of this particular message, and this one, since this is our 5th lesson in this series, we were dealing with how to have a heart to restore the lost. And God is getting us to a place where he said this is going to be an important move for his next move. It's important for us to understand, how do I minister to the lost? So God dealt with us this morning and told us that a lot of different things. He told us that first of all, the people that we're going to have to deal with, that we must count the lost as valuable. We cannot get confused with loss and the value of people. Because see, we get mixed up with that. We think because people are lost, they have no value. Right. But God said they're of great value. Absolutely. We gave some illustrations about that. They're of great value. God said, I want you to see them that way. Let me tell you, he's not telling us everything about his great next move. He's just preparing us. So whatever it is, it has to do with all of this. Amen. So grab it, hold on to it. Amen. Yes. Then he told us that the whole restoration or restoring the lost is going to begin with salvation. Yes. That a person cannot even begin the restoration period until they are saved. You must be saved. Now, if you're already saved and you got all the way away from God, well, you got to come back. Yes. You got to be back in right standing with God so that the restoration can begin. That's the first thing that must be done. And so we say, okay, God, we understand that. So salvation is the first thing. Back in right standing with the living God. From that point on, we don't need to stick our chest out when people get saved and say, okay, they got saved, thank God, and all I know is they're saved. God said no. Because if they did and they've never gone on from that, I doubt if they stayed saved. Because you have to go on from salvation. Yes. You can't just stop there. It's too, you've been in the world too long. You've been in the world too long. Because see, we have this mindset, just say that you believe on, we just say John 9. Let's just say the sinner's prayer. And after that, you say, that's good, that's good. That's not how you get saved. And see, if we take that and people do that and we say they are saved. Do they live the lifestyle of the saved person? Right. Because just saying it doesn't make it so. Because he said you got to believe with your heart. When you believe with your heart, that's going to be different action than what you used to live. Exactly. Now, if you still doing the same old thing, living the same old way, or even worse, and saying you're a Christian, well, that might work for everybody else, and everybody else might say, yeah, I know they born again, I know they love the Lord. But God said, if you love me, you're going to keep my commandments. That's going to be an outward witness that you are born again. Amen. Absolutely. I'm sorry. You make yourself feel good that you act like people are saved that are not.
That's true.
That's judging. No, I'm judging by the word. Yes. I'm always going to judge by the word. What the word said. He said how you will know them. So I'm not going just because you said, yeah, I know they saved. How do you know that? Right. They out there, but they saved. That's a dangerous spot to be. And then something happened, and this is big at funerals. We hate to say it, but it's true. It's big at funerals. Everybody that dies go to heaven. Right. Everybody that died, everybody's rest in heaven. Everybody's going to heaven. And all the sermons is about, they with Jesus, and they with Jesus. Why? Because you just said, because I just know they are. You just know they are. I had a dream. Oh, God, please don't tell me about a dream. No. That doesn't constitute salvation. No, not at all. That doesn't constitute salvation. I want you to know that. Amen. So that's why it's so important that we restore and we get the lost. Yes. Because we don't want, and we especially don't want our loved ones to be lost. Amen. Amen? Then we said to minister to, I think this is where we left off, I think. Did we say ministering to the lost requires a proper heart condition? Yes. I think that's what we had just thought. I gave the illustration about Zacchaeus and how God, so now we're going to go on into the new information. Now, in Isaiah 62, and all of you should be pre-marked there, we've learned earlier last year, and we've been teaching on that this particular chapter and verse that we're teaching out of is a sermon that God gave Isaiah. And it was the sermon that he was preaching, and the Lord gave it to him, and he began to minister to the children of Israel. And in this particular sermon, Isaiah 62, Isaiah is letting the children of Israel know that Jerusalem, first of all, would be restored. See, God's been giving messages forever.
Yes, he has.
So he was letting them know that they were going to be restored, that God was keeping his promise. God always keeps his promise. And he was also letting them know that in order for the restoration of Jerusalem to take place, that there was going to have to be some work that needed to be done, some work that they had to do, just like God is telling us now. In order for things to be changed, there's some work we have to do. There's some hard, unseen work that we have to do. And he was letting them know that because the restoration of Jerusalem was not only about the walls and the gates, and the city was torn down, and that was one portion of it. And you know, it was also about the people. The people had lost their way. See, you got to understand, it just wasn't about that. It was about the people being able to return to the city, because in that time, in the Old Testament, listen to me closely, because I did a lot of research on this, and I think it's all of it's worth you understanding it, where you can see it with more clarity. You got your 20/20 vision, so you can see this.
Amen.
So in the Old Testament, Jerusalem was called the city of promise. The city of promise. And the restoration of Jerusalem, so with the restoration going on, it was still called the city of promise. Listen to me.
Yes.
So again, it wasn't just so much about just building it up and building the walls and building the doors and getting everything like that. It was the fact that that city was called the city of promise. And so God wanted to bring the people back into the promise. Follow me? Now, people living in Jerusalem, you got to understand this, was representation of people living within the promise of God, because that was the city. And if you lived in Jerusalem, and it was called the city of promise, the people was in it that was representation that we are in God's promise.
Yes.
Follow me. And that a remnant of that still stands today, you know. It still stands today. That's why it's such great fight and struggle over there, over Jerusalem. Listen, it's great. Every time you see all of that in the deal, all of that struggle is over Jerusalem. Why? Because there is a belief that Jerusalem is the city of the promise. They know that. It is the city of the promise. Now, the misunderstanding that they have about the promise is that they think the promise is a piece of land or a piece of ground. And it never was that. But that's what they think, and that's what all the fighting is about. Actually, the promise is a relationship that God desired to have with his people. But they don't see that, because you know why they don't see it, right? You know why? Because they're in the dispensation with blinders over their eyes, and they can't see it. And so they think it's a piece of ground. And so they're fighting for Jerusalem, and that's all you see. Every time you see over in those nations, it's just struggles going on. If they're not throwing rocks, they're doing something. There's always something going on. But it's all because of it being the place of the promise. Are you with me? But the promise is a relationship that God desired to have with his people, and he needed a place to have that relationship. So that's how Jerusalem was built. So he said, I want to have that place, so let's build a city, and we're going to call it the promise. Because the place of the promise, because that's where I'm going to meet with my people and have a relationship with them. Are you following? Just giving you a little history of it so you can know how we're going. And so in that, so he established a nation, and from that nation he built a city, and where it could stand, and again, it will be representing a relationship that the Holy God wanted to have with his people. Very important to what we're teaching. Don't get bored with the history of it, because that gives you your foundation.
Amen.
So when you try to relate this message to someone else, you can tell them why.
Amen.
So understand this. Jerusalem is only important because it represents a promise from God. And God not only wanted to restore the city, but he wanted to restore the people. And now we live in a new dispensation where God is not restoring us to a city, but he's restoring us to a relationship with him.
Amen.
And he's putting us, and how did he do that? He put us all in a body.
Okay.
Oh, y'all missed that?
Yes.
See, we're in a new dispensation.
Right.
That was the dispensation of their time, and that was the Jerusalem that they built up for that God made them a nation, and then he gave them a city that they can dwell in, and they said that that's going to be the city of the promise, and that. But for us in our dispensation, God said, now I've made you a holy nation, and now I've set you into a body.
Yes. Yes.
Amen.
Yes.
Are you following me?
Yes.
So what's going on there? There was a disconnection between God's promise and God's people. See, when there's a disconnection, there's a problem. There's a disconnection there between God's promise and God's people. There was a place that he had provided and the people he had provided for, but those people were not in that place. It's the same today. There are promises that God has made to us. There are promises God has made to the lost.
Yes, it is.
We cashed in on it. All of us that believe.
Yes. That's right.
There's promises that God has made to the hurting. There's promises God has made to the depressed, to the oppressed. He's made promises. It's all in here. He's made those promises, but you got to get them. There's promises that he made to the overeducated that despise the action or the appreciation of the higher calling. I'm just way too wise to believe in that there is a God.
Absolutely.
There's a promise he made for them too. There's promises he's made to those that have addictions.
Amen. Amen.
See, he's made us promises and put us in a body. Just like he made promises to them, and he made them a nation, and he built a city, and it was called Jerusalem. That's where that's where they wanted to be. Listen, there are people that he wanted to have the promise. They wanted to have the promise, and right now there's a disconnection though. They want the promise, but there's a disconnection between God's promise and his people. Why? Because they can't see Jesus. There's a disconnection. So they just fight over a piece of ground because they missed it, because they got the shells over their eyes, they got the blinders. So we just fight. And this is the disconnection with the church. Now, with us, God has brought us together, and God has given us promises and different things. Because remember what we're talking about, restoring the laws. But now we as a people, the church has decided that we are his people by ourselves. But we're not.
That's right. Exactly.
There's other people.
Yes.
But for us, we think it's just us. Once you got to come in here and that's it. But God said, no, I have another.
Yes.
The ones I want you to go after. But the church as a whole is thinking it's just us. We're God's people. So we put our nose up at the Muslims and all the ones that's just all over that, and they into Buddhism and they into this and they into that. And so because we're the only ones in. But no, we're not.
That's right.
We're not the only people. So the old covenant in Isaiah, they're looking at the work they had to do to restore Jerusalem. God said it's another one.
Amen.
And then, I'm telling you, God was saying this one. There's another one. It's not just all about you.
Yeah. Amen.
Know that. And so they wanted to look at the work that they had to do to restore Jerusalem. And we need to look at the work we have to do to restore the lost.
Yes.
We got to work. We're in another dispensation. Said all of that to say that we're not in that dispensation. We're in another dispensation, but we have to do something. Amen. Now, are you in Isaiah, what did I say? 62. Beginning at verse 8. It says, "The Lord hath sworn by his right hand, and by the arm of his strength, surely I will no more give thy corn to be meat for thine enemies, and the sons of the stranger shall not drink thy wine, for the which thou hast labored. But they that have gathered it shall eat it and praise the Lord. And they that have brought it together shall drink it in the courts of my holiness." Now, in other words, you're not going to stay in this position where you will lose, that you're going to lose everything that you work for. He's telling us that.
This has been a teaching message from Church of the Living Water at Austin. For more information about our ministry, please go to our website at livingwateraustin.net.